All right, let's talk about something almost all of us go through in our professional lives. It's that quiet, nagging feeling that you're not quite as smart or talented as people think, and that any day now, everyone's going to find out. We're going to get into why that feeling is so incredibly common, and way more importantly, what you can actually do about it. I mean, be honest with yourself for a second. Have you ever been in a meeting, or maybe after you sent off a big project, and you just get that sinking feeling in your stomach? That thought that says, I'm fooling all of them? If that sounds even a little familiar, you're in the right place. And trust me, you are in very, very good company. So, where does this almost universal feeling come from? Well, a lot of the time, it starts with a simple but really powerful mistake our brains make. You can think of it as the highlight reel illusion. This image of the iceberg, it's the perfect way to understand this. When we look at our colleagues, our peers, we see their success. That's the tip of the iceberg, right? We see the big promotion, the flawless presentation, the project that just knocked it out of the park. But what we don't see is, well, everything else. The huge, messy part of the iceberg that's underwater. All the late nights, the self-doubt, the failures, the hard work. We are constantly comparing our entire chaotic behind-the-scenes journey to everyone else's shiny, finished highlight reel. And this constant, totally unfair comparison creates a really specific psychological trap. It makes you feel like you must be the only one who's struggling this much. Now, there is a technical term for this, pluralistic ignorance. It sounds super academic, I know, but the idea is actually pretty simple. It's just the mistaken belief that you're the only one with these secret fears and struggles, just because everyone else is so good at acting confident. You're comparing your inner world with all its chaos to their polished outer world. And this just lays it out perfectly. In our own heads, we have what you could call our internal blooper reel playing on a loop, every single doubt, every fear, every mistake we've ever made. But when we look out at other people, all we see is their external highlight reel, their confidence, their amazing results, their biggest wins. It's not a fair fight, is it? And it's the perfect recipe for feeling like a total fraud. Okay, but here's where the whole story takes a really fascinating twist. What if that feeling of doubt wasn't actually a sign that you're incompetent? What if, and this is a big what if, it was actually a sign that you're not? Our gut reaction, the thing we all tend to believe, is that if we feel doubt, it must mean we're incompetent, right? It just feels logical. If I'm questioning myself, there must be a good reason for it. But here's the thing. The research actually paints a completely different picture. And this is where we can really start to change our relationship with that feeling of self-doubt. This is all about something called the Dunning-Kruger effect. Now, a lot of us have heard about the first part of this, that people with low ability can be really overconfident because they don't know what they don't know. But the other side of that curve is just as important, especially for us. People with high ability often know just enough to realize how much more there is to learn, and that awareness can actually cause them to underestimate how good they are. So think about that. That worry, that concern about your own performance, it might not be a bug. It might actually be a feature of competence. Okay, so if our feelings are so unreliable, what are we supposed to trust? The answer is simple. Evidence. Cold, hard facts. It's time to stop acting like your own worst critic and start acting like a lawyer building a case for your own success. Because here's the core of the problem. When you're stressed out, your brain becomes a totally unreliable narrator. It's not on your side. It actually distorts your memory. It makes the failures seem huge and the successes seem tiny and insignificant. So you can't just think your way out of this feeling. You need proof that exists outside of your own head. So here's your action plan. It's 3 simple steps. First, you've got to hunt for evidence. Don't just passively wait for it. Actively look for praise, for good feedback, for data that proves you did a good job. Step 2, create a tangible record. Call it your receipts file or your win folder, whatever you want. Screenshot that amazing email from your boss. Save the chart that shows your project was a success. And step 3, this is the most important part. Consult it when you're under stress. The next time that imposter feeling starts to creep in, don't argue with it. Just open the file and look at the facts. Ground yourself in the reality of what you've actually accomplished. Having a file of receipts is an amazing defensive tool. It's your shield. But to build real, lasting confidence, you also need an offensive strategy. And that means adding another tool to your kit, your mindset. See, that feeling of being a fraud absolutely thrives in what's called a fixed mindset. That's the belief that you're either born with talent or you're not. And if you believe that, then any struggle feels like proof that you're just not a natural. The antidote to this is a growth mindset. This is the simple belief that skills are built, not born. They come from effort and practice. When you have a growth mindset, a challenge isn't some scary test that might expose you. No, it's an opportunity to learn something new. And a mistake? It's not a verdict on your abilities. It's just data you can use for next time. So let's tie this all together. The most important thing to remember is that feeling like an imposter is a thought pattern. It is not a fact. And that self-doubt you feel, it might actually be a good sign, a signal that you're competent enough to know there's always more to learn. The most powerful things you can do are to build a case for yourself with real, tangible proof, and to work on shifting your focus from am I good enough to how can I get better? And that brings us to the final and maybe most important point. It's a question for you. Because learning about all this is great, but doing something is what really changes things. So as we finish up here, I want you to really think about this. What is the very first receipt, that first piece of positive proof that you are going to go find and save for your file today?